Good evening, everyone. We're just going to take a second, let everybody jump on, and then we will get started. Excited to see everyone and talk about making some decisions tonight. And if you guys would just pop in the chat, would love to hear where you're from and maybe a win that you've had this week. So where you're from, and then a win or a victory or a hooray, something that you're excited about. All right, and while everyone's rolling in, we're gonna just go ahead and jump in and get started. So welcome to our monthly community call. We are excited to have you here. And tonight we're gonna be talking about the power of decision. So my name is Meredith Burford, if I haven't met you. I have been coaching for about 3.5 years now, and I am super passionate about this topic. So my son, I have a 2-year-old and a 10-week-old, and my son's favorite movie right now is The Lion King. And if you've seen The Lion King, which I've seen it now probably about 100 times, there's a scene where Mufasa is speaking down, from the heavens to Simba, and he says, "Simba, you are more than what you have become. It is time to take your place in the circle of life." And I know it's cheesy, but that just came to mind when I was thinking about this topic, because for some of us, it's time to make a decision. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and share more about why I'm so passionate about this. So let me just share my screen really quick. So this is my before and after. The first one at the top, that was when I started the plan July 22nd, 2019. So that was the day that I made a decision that I was going to be healthy. So previously, I had been overweight my whole adult life. I was newly married at this point, and we knew that we wanted to start a family. And I knew that I didn't want this to be my legacy when I had kids. And I didn't want to continue to battle my weight my whole life. So I decided that it was my time, and I decided that I would get healthy and lost 55 pounds, maintained that for a while. So you can see that in the photo on the top. Now I've got a 10-week-old little girl, and I'm currently doing our nursing moms plan. So I'm 6 weeks in and 13 pounds down. So y'all, I am in the trenches with you right now. So we all have the power to rewrite our story. And I'm thinking that tonight, there are many of you on here where it's time for you to make a decision and to step forward. And maybe it's, that you have been thinking about joining our program or starting the 5-in-1 and you haven't yet. Maybe it's your time. Maybe you've done the 5-in-1 before and you gain the weight back, or you're not where you want to be and it's time to recommit. Or maybe you're in a great place, but it's time to level up. Maybe you want to get more active, or take your health to the next level. Whatever it is, I just want you to start thinking about what's stirring within you, what type of decision you may feel pulled to make tonight. So we're going to start, and grab a pen and paper if you can. So either a pen and paper, or if you want to do it on your phone, you can do it in the notes section on your phone, but we're going to write a few things down. So this is the first decision we're going to make, all right? Who are you going to become in the next 30 days? And how are you going to do it? So we want to pick our plan, and we all have a nutrition plan, even if our plan is no plan. That's still a plan in and of itself. So pick a plan. Maybe it's the 5-in-1, maybe it's a 3-in-3 and you're just maintaining. Or like I said before, maybe it's that you want to take your fitness or your activity to the next level. Either way, I want you to write down this that's in bold. It was August 10th, 2023. I decided to become the hero of my own story. I chose a plan to, and then write what your plan is. So we all get to be the heroes of our story. Of course, there are supporting characters, there are circumstances that happen that are outside of our control, but we are the ones that get to decide how we're going to respond. So today I decided to become the hero of my own story. All right. So while you're writing that down, I want to introduce my friend Will Ramsey. And you can see his incredible before and after photo here. He'll tell you a little bit more. Will and I go back several years. We worked together. And last year he reached out and he said, you know what? I'm ready to try the plan. And he's had an incredible transformation, and it has been so fun to watch. So Will, if you are on, you can go ahead and unmute, and we would love to hear your story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Meredith. Glad to be here. And it's just so wild to think about, this past year and so far where I've come and where I'm still going as well too. But as you mentioned earlier, last year I realized that I was just in a funk. I was in a place that I just wasn't feeling good, wasn't happy, and I was just gaining weight, month over month, year by year, and nothing was changing. And the idea of thinking that something would change without me changing, that's just, not the right way to go. So I realized that, because I could not work out, I could not physically work out at that moment of time, I needed to change my eating habits. And that was the start to the beginning of all of this. And, with changing my eating habits, I also didn't really have much knowledge of how to eat healthy. Anything I had before. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. And if you can turn on your video, I know you're in the car, but if you can turn on your
Can you
video.
hear me, Meredith? Okay, perfect. Perfect. Let me get that going. I'm parked now, so I'm good.
There we go. Awesome.
All right. Hello there.
Hey.
Yeah, so a year ago I was having some medical issues off too, so I could not work out at all. And so I knew I need to work on my eating habits. So essentially I knew I need to eat healthy, but I did not know where to start at all. And the idea of it was just so overwhelming. Going to the grocery store, I had a panic attack the first time. There was just so many options and so many things, and I want to do the right thing, I want to do the best thing, but it was just how to get started. So I literally walked out of the grocery store, contacted Meredith to say, "Hey, I am ready to get started. Give me some guidance. Give me what I know works. I've seen it so happen. Some other coworkers in the company too that has been on the program for years before that I chose not to do at that moment in time, but it was my time to go along with it, give it a try, and take ownership. And immediately is when, going through the program, the 5-1 plan, I began to, see the results immediately and quickly. With I think I lost 20 pounds in my first month or so. I love the idea of having structure with the 5-1 plan as well too, while still having the ability to, change it up a little bit and have different meals, different days of the week, and that kind of stuff, have fun with it. I think it's really important as well too to have fun with it all, and to also enjoy or find what tastes I like more than others too, and really add that in as well. And then look forward to my lean and green, which is always my big exciting meal of the day. So having fun with it for sure, but also understanding what I'm eating and or when I was having cravings and why, and really talking to my coach Meredith really helped me gain the knowledge that I crave to have, that allowed me to have again the ownership that I was wanting to have too, and over time that became part of who I am now. So it's now like it's part of my DNA essentially. And it's so great to have the weight off that was feeling to hold me back. I was also on high blood pressure medicine. I actually had a checkup this week. My pressure was great. I'm now off my medicine that was prescribed for years before, which is really exciting. And I'm still committed to continuing this path and taking ownership, because obviously as we get older, bodies change, things challenges occur still. But I'm excited to have the knowledge I've learned here to continue that path, but also contribute to my household as well with um, being able to be a great partner, be a great person, and that nature too. So I've had a really great journey that I'm so thankful that this gave me the balance that impacted other parts of my life as well.
That is awesome, Will. Thank you so much for sharing. And I love too, I had forgotten when you first got started, it was like a whole new world. Grocery shopping and cooking healthy, all that stuff was a whole new world. And you have just conquered it and tackled it. And to look at you now, 70 pounds down.
Absolutely.
It's incredible. Well, thanks so much for sharing. Okay. So y'all, we've made a decision on who we want to become and how we're going to do it. All right. So now it's time to make our next decision. So this one is going to be to close the past chapters and decide to face every obstacle. So some of you are ready to move forward, but you may have some habits that are getting in your way and keeping you from becoming that person that you want to be. Maybe it's the chocolate that's hidden in the pantry in case of emergencies, or maybe it's a little voice in your head that is telling you, oh, you can't do this or you're going to fail. Or maybe it's an unwillingness to say no to some things that are fun, like having a drink during happy hour. Whatever it is, I'm guessing that there is something stirring within you that you're like, oh yeah, maybe I need to leave that behind, or maybe I need to tweak this or tighten up on that. And we're also going to have to decide to face obstacles. Obstacles will come. There is no avoiding them. It's going to happen. There's the phrase, I can't remember who said it, but the only way out is through. So instead of being afraid that an obstacle is going to come, I want to challenge you to think about, what if I welcomed the obstacle? What if I considered it a way for me to grow through it? So on your paper, I want you to go ahead and write down, in the face of great obstacles, I continued to move forward. Once we make that decision that we are not going to let anything get in our way, we are a force to be reckoned with, y'all. So next up, I'm going to have Meg Johnson speak. So Meg is my coach, and you can see her a before and after on here, and she'll tell you more about it. But Meg made some courageous decisions, and she walked away from some things, and it has just rocked her world. So Meg, please share.
Thanks, Meredith. And hey guys, Meredith asked me earlier today, she goes, Meg, did you know that your head isn't on your pictures? And I said, absolutely, I know that. I cut my head out of those pictures because it was so vulnerable and so embarrassing. And tonight I'm going to share a part of my story that I've never shared publicly. And so I have all the feelings and all the emotions, but I just want to share it in an effort that it's going to move somebody forward in their life. So 19 months ago, yesterday, I had to close the door on alcohol in my life. And it started as a little nudge, like a little stirring that was happening. And I'd come to meetings like this and hear words, being spoken and kind of feeling like, maybe I need to close that door. But then I started thinking about, what am I going to do when the neighborhood friends get together? That's all we do. And then I started thinking about what about Christmas and holidays and birthdays and life? Like alcohol had become just a part of my everyday life. But I was looking at my health. And if you know anything about my story, I worked really hard. I lost 30 pounds in 10 weeks. I felt phenomenal. So I had contended so hard for my health, and I grew up obese and never really learned how to take care of myself until I found this program. But I was, not where I wanted to be in my health. Some of those habits kind of came back. And one of those habits that was there was alcohol. And I was really thinking about it. And for me, it didn't serve me. It wasn't adding to my life. It really was just something that was there, right? And it wasn't helping me move forward. And when I looked at my daily intake, or, the foods that I was eating and what I was nourishing my body with, I was really looking and I really wasn't doing anything bad, right? I was really eating pretty lean and greenish. Can I get an amen from the back from the people that know what I'm talking about? Like on the 5-in-1-ish plan, which gives you those terrible ish results, right? So I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I ended up, needing to close that door and make a decision. And for you, you might have that nudge right now and a stirring, and it may not be alcohol. For you, it might be PB2, or it might be the sugar-free zero whipped cream that you have in the freezer from your Sarah Bond brownie. That is amazing, right? We all have different things, and by themselves, none of those things are bad, right? But if any of those things are keeping you from becoming the best version of yourself, then I would just encourage you to tonight make a decision to close the door on the things that aren't serving you. Because all I got to say, and all I know is, when I made that decision 19 months ago, I had no idea that my life would be more fun, more fulfilling, that I could go into these happy hours and do all of this and absolutely stay true to my priorities and to my goals. And so I'm not here to say there won't be obstacles, because we know there are obstacles, but what I've learned is we are stronger than the obstacle when we make our decision. And to decide means to cut off all other alternatives. So when we make that decision and we close the door on the things that aren't serving us, man, it feels good. So I don't know who this was for tonight, but I just hope that it was for you and you took something from it, and maybe you'll message your coach to let them know what you need to close the door on as you walk the road into freedom.
Wow, Meg. Woo! Thank you for being vulnerable and for sharing with us. I know I can relate, and I know that there's so many other people on here that can relate as well. And I haven't actually looked up the definition of decision, to cut off all alternatives. That is so good. And many of you have probably experienced this, that when you make that decision and the alternatives aren't an option anymore, it actually gets easier. There was a quote so our Optavia convention was a couple weeks ago. And that's actually where a lot of this, where this topic came from, was from a talk that Leslie and Trey Begin gave. And they said on there that abstinence is easier than moderation oftentimes. And so what you were talking about, Meg, just made me think of that. And that's like one of those ouch things that I know for me, I don't want to accept sometimes, that maybe there's just some things I need to stay away from, but it's just the truth, y'all. So, all right. So we have decided who we want to become. We've decided that we're going to face every obstacle. And now we are going to make our third decision. So we're going to commit to keep the promises that we made to ourselves. So think about, have you ever told yourself you're going to do something? And I'll be transparent, that is real life for me right now. I've said, oh, I'm going to go on a long walk tomorrow, or I'm going to actually do a workout video, and I haven't done it. And when I say to myself that I'm going to do it and I don't actually fulfill it, there's this weight on you. It's like this nagging thought too, of like, oh, I said I was going to do that and I didn't do it. And it just creates this heaviness. And it creates this, I can't think of the word, but this situation where we're not really in integrity with ourselves. So conversely, if I say to myself, okay, I'm going to make the bed when I get up in the morning, and I actually do it, I feel so good. I feel like I conquered the whole day and all I did was make the bed. So there is power in building that trust with yourself. So next on your paper or in your note on your phone, I want you to write, I made promises to myself that day and I kept them. And just think to yourself, like, imagine for a second, what is it going to mean to you when you become the person that you decided to be? When you fulfill the promises that you made to yourself, think about how that's going to feel. So next, I'm going to introduce one of my friends and clients, Leisha Keith. And y'all, Leisha is incredible. You can see her before and after on here. She started a program a few months ago, and she was one of those people that she just decided that she was going to do it. And no matter what came up, she had all kinds of things that would come up. She just kept her commitment to herself and she did the thing. So Leisha, if you could hop off mute and share your story with us, that would be great.
Hello, everybody, life changers, life achievers, hi, goal getters, how you doing? Hi, my name is Leisha Key. I'm really at choir rehearsal, but I ran out just to be on this Zoom. But listen, decisions are made for the better. I said, I don't want to be old and fat and old and I'm healthy. You know, I'm getting older, but you know what? I made the decision to keep my promises to myself. You will not be old and fat. You will not be old and unhealthy, and you will not be old. Listen, but you know, the great things about the decision that I made since April the 11th, I have lost 35.2 pounds, 35.2 because I need every little point I can get. I lost a lot of inches. My clothes are too big, but that's a good problem to have. And listen, there are some non-scale victories that I want to share. My self-esteem has been boosted, rocket boosted to the moon, around Saturn, past the Milky Way, and back. I can't stop looking at myself in the mirror, go like, "Oh wow, girl! Oh girl, you look good! Oh, you're so beautiful! I love it!" And I look at myself in a different and a positive way. Not only me, but everybody is looking at me like, "What are you doing? I need to do what you're doing." Like, yes, you do. I got a coach. Her name is Meredith. But look, being a motivation to others, my sisters, my friends, my coworkers, the decision brought me to that point. Due to the weight that I lost, my BMI, ladies and gentlemen, my BMI went from 32 to 26. 32 to 26. My doctor was elated. He was more excited than I was. And I was going like, oh my, and he was just smiling and just happy. And it just made me smile from the inside out. Yes, Optavia makes you smile from the inside out. Anyway, listen, because of the weight loss, I had a blood pressure problem. Because of the weight loss, I went from 3 pills to 2 pills. Since April to today, I went from 2 pills to 1.5 pills. Now that is a non-scale victory. Talking about getting healthy, talking about decisions, talking about deciding not to eat myself sick, not to eat myself to death, not to eat myself sick, not to eat myself to death. I learned to eat for food and for health. So you know what? I have some great coaches from Maryland. I have a great community in Altavia, and I feel amazing. Can you tell? I feel amazing.
Oh,
Come on, y'all, join me. Join me. Come on, join me. Call me. Hit me up.
That's right. Oh, Leisha, you are just like, the chat is blowing up, by the way. You are just like glowing. You can tell how good you feel. Thank you so much for sharing your story. So powerful.
Woo-hoo!
And it's been so fun. So much fun to get to partner with you
Yeah.
alongside you. So thank you for sharing. All right, y'all. So as you can see, it feels good when you keep the promise that you made to yourself. Look at how far Leisha's come just since April. It's incredible. So now our next decision, this is going to be our last decision that we're making together tonight, at least, is we're going to decide to do this in the context of community. So I want you to think about everything that you've written down, who you want to be, the fact that you're going to move forward through obstacles. Think about how you're going to fulfill the promises that you made to yourself. And think about a title of what you want this next chapter to be. So write or think of a name. So like for me, this is my chapter title. It's going to be Mama Gets Active. And I am publicly saying that I am committing to doing 20 minutes, 3 days a week of workouts. So that's my starting point. I posted too on social media about getting active. So I put it out there. You may have heard the phrase dieting in the dark, and it just doesn't work because we're all human. And when things get tough, our tendency is to want to hide And when we do things in the dark, it is easy to hide. If we give ourselves an out, 9 times out of 10, because we're human, we're going to take that out. So I just challenge you to involve your community. So that may be texting your coach after this call and send them a snippet of what you wrote down and what you're deciding to do. It may be telling your friends and family. And that way they can support you and encourage you. Or it might be sharing it on social media and just, putting it out there so that there's a little public accountability. But whatever you do, just involve your community. It makes it a lot more fun also. So in light of speaking of community, would love if anyone wants to just come off mute and share what you're making a decision for today. We would love to hear it. We have just a couple minutes left and would love to hear from a few of you. I know it can be scary to put it out there, but
Okay, I'm gonna go for it.
all right.
I love those chocolate, peanut butter little things that Trader Joe's sells. They're dark chocolate with peanut butter in it. And I take one, maybe once a day, I take them just because it's something sweet and I like it. But I'm gonna really try to do what Meg or Meredith said about choosing not to, I forget what the term was. I'm looking at my notes here. Sorry, but I'm going to choose to close the door on those particular chocolates.
Good
Definitely.
for you, Odette. That's awesome. And it's hard to do, but saying it out loud and putting it out there,
Yeah, it's out there now.
there's no turning back. I love it. Who else wants to share? Could be something that you need to close the door on, or it could be something that you're excited to commit to, or even the title of your next chapter.
Hey, Meg. I mean, Meredith.
Hey, Aunt Kathy.
Hey, I'm not going to share my background right now, but my new chapter is get out of my way, self. Because most of you that know me know I've been hiding for a while, and I can come up with some excuses as to why and why it's necessary. But truth of the matter is, my God has called me to be healthy. And he gave me opportunity through Optavia, but then I got to my weight, and then I got busy, kind of like the way I looked, and was satisfied, but not anymore. I got more health to go. I got more people to help. I got more people to love on. So it may be slow and steady, but I'm going to get out of my own way.
Amen. Oh, good for you. That is a powerful place to be. All right.
I'll share real quickly, Meredith.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Lucy.
Because Odette is my client, so I have to, I can't let her show me up because I'm competitive. But I do, and anybody who knows me knows there's probably one of two things that I'm going to say, and I'm going to give them both up because I was going teeter-tottering as to which one. It's the sugar-free whipped cream, and it's the popcorn. So I'm closing the door. Yeah, Lauren, the popcorn and the sugar-free whipped cream.
All right. Awesome. You go, girl. I feel like we need to have a pantry throw out party. Oh, well, awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for participating. And I want to invite each of you to stay on. So we are going to transition in just a minute to a sneak peek into coaching call. So if you have ever been curious about what we do as a coach, Or if you have that tug of like, I kind of do want to coach, or I would love to help somebody, please stay on. We're going to have several coaches share on different fears that they've had and what they've experienced. So we're excited for you to stay on. If not, everyone have a great night and we will see you soon.